Father Atkins called me on July 26th, 1966, and asked if I would go to dinner with him. I was glad to hear from him. I had spent the better part of the last 6 months sitting on the other side of his large mahogany desk, talking to him and learning about him, both the man and the priest. He constantly steered me away from the subject of his remaining in the priesthood. He considered me a friend and confidant whom he could trust with his deepest thoughts. As for me, I realized that I had not bitten my fingernails since our meetings began in January 1966, and I felt a sense of peacefulness whenever I was with him or even thought about him. I believed he was falling in love with me. I also believed that I was feeling something, but dared not let my thoughts go down that road. We set a date for dinner. He appeared on my doorstep with a bouquet of yellow daffodils wrapped in yellow tissue tied with a bow. He was wearing blue jeans and a cotton short-sleeve shirt. This was the first time I had seen him without his Roman collar. He was about 5'10" and handsome, with brown eyes and thick, graying hair. I was somewhat uncomfortable being with him outside the rectory, as I still viewed him as Father Atkins. "Hello, Father," I said. "Please, call me either Tom or Lee, my middle name." "I'll call you Lee." We drove to a restaurant in Bay City, Michigan, a small city 14 miles north of Saginaw. We arrived at the restaurant. As he got out of the car, he said, "I'll get the door for you." I sat still. When we walked into the restaurant, I immediately noticed that everyone was white, and many people were staring at us. This was 1966, and here we were, a middle-aged white man and a young Negro girl. Not exactly a common sight in Bay City, or anywhere else for that matter. My discomfort became more intense. I had never been alone in the company of a white boy or man in my 20 years. I decided to ignore the stares, and sure enough, within a few minutes, no one was looking at us. We were seated at a table by a cordial waitress. I took a long look at Lee as he sat across from me. He looked different without his collar. I looked at his face and his hands. I watched him as he talked and smiled. He seemed happy and content. "What are you doing now?" I asked. "I am working in a flower shop here in Bay City," he said. "I enjoy working in the soil in the greenhouse, watching the plants and flowers grow. I also enjoy delivering flowers, especially to those who do not know they are coming. A beautiful bouquet of flowers brings so much joy." "Thank you again for the daffodils. Do you miss saying Mass?" "Some days I do," he said, "but most days I don't. I still read my office prayers every day." I knew that those were prayers required by canon law that priests must recite at different times of the day and evening. "Are you uncomfortable with people looking at us?" "Not at all," he replied without hesitation. "Are you?" "Yes, but I don't want to leave," I said bravely. We talked over a dinner of fried lake perch and French fries. We mostly talked about me that night. During the drive back home, he just came out with it. "Marylin, I love you. I want to marry you." I was not surprised, and he knew it. I remained silent. "I want you to think about it," he said, "but I do not want you to give me an answer until I have given you all the information about myself that I feel you must know. I will leave nothing out." Here we had a 45-year-old white ex-priest living at the YMCA and working in a flower shop, proposing marriage to a 20-year-old Negro Catholic girl who was going to college, working in a bank, living at home with her parents, and playing the organ every Sunday at the church where the ex-priest just left a month earlier. I do not remember how or if I prioritized all the issues involved in even contemplating such a union. I just felt deep down in my heart that this could work. But while he was confident of the decisions he had made so far, I wondered if he had really thought of the consequences of our getting married. We had no money. I wanted to finish school, and he wanted children right away. But what about the church? What hellfire would the bishop rain down upon us? What about our families? My mother would have a fit if I married this man. Father Atkins was one thing, but a son-in-law? No way.